Welcome to It's Not About Sex. I'm Brianne McLaughlin. We here at Shaw TV have been working on this show for some time now. It's a project that comes from a very special place. As Canadians grow and develop as a society, we're beginning to discover the importance of expanding our knowledge of people in the LGBTQ community. For decades, lesbians, gays, bisexuals, transgenders, and queers have been fighting for equality, tolerance, and most importantly, acceptance. There are endless elements. But today we're going to start with something simple. Well, sort of. The issue of gender. Our first story is about an Edmontonian named CHEVI RABBITT.
My name is CHEVI RABBITT and I identify as gender fluid. So gender fluid means that I don't go by traditional gender norms. I wouldn't feel comfortably as a full female, so I don't think I'm transgendered, no. Well, I know I'm not transgendered. And I don't identify as a masculine man, like a traditional sense. I think there's a lot of room, there's a gray area. So you're raised in the society where there's men look this way, women look this way. So everybody assumes that it's fixed. But in reality, it's a lot more fluid than that. This is so pretty. And that's why I grew up in a small town thinking that I was like an alien, because I'm completely different from everybody. I don't look like one set race, and I don't look the other set race, and I don't look like a male or female. So what my mom would tell me is, well, who's CHEVI? So just be whatever CHEVI wants to be. From there, I've always been very feminine, and I wore makeup and throughout high school, had a good time, grew up in a small town, never got bullied, nothing like that. Our society that we have right now works quite well, but it's a little rough around the edges in terms of welcoming other people and other people such as myself. The only time I was ever assaulted was my last year at University of Alberta. They pulled up to the stop sign right here, and then they basically started yelling homophobic slurs towards me. A group of men thought I was a woman, and then they said, oh wait, you're a fag. You're an effing fag. And then they started swearing at me, and I said thank you to them and continued walking, and then they attacked me from behind. Before that incident, I basically just focused on myself, focused on trying to better my life. But after I was attacked, it opened up my eyes to the fact that there's a lot of homophobic people out there, and that a lot of people are suffering in silence. By being different, it doesn't make you less of a person. So I want to lead by example. In the perfect world, I think people would be a lot more understanding about other people's differences, and that life isn't black and white. There's a lot of gray areas in life, in gender, and just being a human. It's not black and white.
The distinction between genders isn't always clear, or in this case, male or female. Next, we sit down with this inspirational individual to discuss how one navigates being gender fluid.
Full makeup every day. Maybe less makeup, but my masculine is still, it's quite feminine. If I had to act like a man, I can see myself being very depressed. I can see myself being something that I'm not. And I figured I'd rather be something that I am and let people stare at me. But at least I know I'm staying true to myself, and I'm happy.
Welcome back to It's Not About Sex. Before the break, we showed you the very inspirational story of an androgynous individual. His name is CHEVI RABBITT, and we're excited to welcome him here to the show today. Thanks for coming down. You look gorgeous as always.
You as well.
I knew you were coming, so I had to step up my game. So in the video we watched that you're biologically male, your sex is considered male.
Yes.
but you don't necessarily identify that way. So what do you mean by that, by the fact that you're gender fluid?
Well, I think what I mean by that is that I don't identify as a masculine man. Like, I don't do masculine things. I don't do your typical, I'm not comfortable identifying and being a man, nor am I comfortable being a fully woman. I kind of think I can take pieces of both genders and create my own expression of who I think I am. And my natural, who I am is more feminine. I like wearing makeup. I like doing feminine things. And I just think I can never see myself as a full man, a masculine testosterone man. That's just not who I am.
But you don't see yourself as a full woman either.
No, I don't see myself as a full woman either. I don't see myself fulfilling what society thinks a woman is. I kind of think I take pieces of what I see in women, what I like, and pieces of what I see in men that I like, and I kind of create my own identity.
Okay. So, and a lot of that has to do with how you look, right?
Yeah.
So
it's all about expression, and it all ties in with fashion.
Okay, so you mentioned to me before that you tie in a little bit of male, a little bit of female. When it comes to your outfit, sometimes you look totally female, or sometimes you look totally male.
Yeah, and I also analyze the environment I'm going in, whether if I'm going into a fashion show or some kind of function where I know I'm safe, yes, I'll fully express myself as a very flamboyant, very feminine man, because I know I'm safe in that realm. Or if I'm going into as a professional makeup artist, I'll dress more masculine, but tailored suits, and basically what they want to see, like a flamboyant gay guy, what they see on TV, and that's how I'll dress for my makeup clients. So I really analyze the environment, the situation, and whether it's safe to be who I am.
Do you think you'd ever wear a dress to an Edmonton bar?
I have, yeah, but I have to be with a group of friends. And I have modeled in women's clothing, and I have done, I wear women's clothes quite often, actually.
What's the reaction you get from most people about when you dress like more feminine, more like a girl?
Depends on how I look. Everybody stares. So
it's because you're hot.
No, I think just people stare at something different, because everybody I find in Alberta either looks like they're gonna go dirt biking, they work in, they're
like very masculine.
Masculine men, they do all the masculine things, and I find women are traditionally very women. And I find myself, I stand out I stand right out. Like wherever I walk, people are always staring, so I just kind of got used to it.
Okay, so you are a makeup artist.
Yes.
So do you think that the fact that you used makeup to kind of change your look and your identity when you were younger and kind of developing who you were led you down the path to becoming that profession?
No, I kind of think what happened, yeah, it kind of ties into it. But a makeup artist, I was a painter, well, fine art painting at first, and then I started playing with makeup on myself and on my friends, and then I just realized that I can change how I look through makeup, and that just kind of led to being a makeup artist. And I started doing it with my friends, and I've noticed that when I would do their makeup, their completely demeanor would change, and it would change who they are, because makeup brought confidence.
So it's more of an artistic sort of thing it's kind of a way to give back for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And I guess one question I have for you is, what is the most, we know you dress up in girl dresses, heels sometimes you wear pants and wear masculine shoes, but what is the most drastic thing that you've done to change your appearance, and did it make you feel more comfortable?
The most drastic thing I've done to change my appearance was my teeth. I got my teeth done. That's
pretty common.
Yeah, it's quite common. It's nothing really to do with gender. It's just more about cosmetic.
Okay, well.
Would be makeup, my nails. I haven't really done anything really. I've just basically makeup and clothing. That's basically what I use to change my appearance. It's not even like I'm trying to change my appearance into anything. I'm just being myself. Sometimes I'll wear makeup and clothes just for everyday appearance, and that's just how I define myself for that day.
Right, like so.
It's not like I'm trying to achieve a certain look. I'm just putting on some makeup, picking out some clothes, and if it happens to look feminine, then it looks feminine.
You do what you need to do on a daily basis to make yourself feel comfortable with who you are and how you're feeling.
Exactly.
Is what it comes down to.
Yeah, basically, it's my identity. It's how I choose to express myself, and it's not like I'm trying to go out there to look a certain way. I'm just going to look into my wardrobe, paint my face, and if it looks a certain way, it looks a certain way.
Like you said in the story, you're just being Chevy.
I'm just being myself.
Okay. Well, Chevy has been explaining his gender identity so far on the show, but when we come back, we're going to move on to something else, his sexuality.
They started egging each other on and laughing and making fun, and then called me a faggot. They said, you're an effing fag. I think it's through mutual understanding and respect for each other. You know, there's you have to tolerate. You can't change other people, but you have to at least be tolerant of other people.
Welcome back. You're watching It's Not About Sex. Before the break, we introduced you to CHEVI RABBITT, an Edmontonian who identifies as gender fluid. We broke down that he is biologically male, but doesn't necessarily identify that way. So on that note, I think something that I was wondering when I first met you, and people at home are probably wondering, is how would you define your sexuality? So who are you sexually attracted to?
I'm sexually attracted to masculine males. Yeah.
Masculine males.
Yeah.
So you've made that preface there. So,
yeah.
So like, what are you talking? Is talking like big, burly?
I like
lumberjack style.
I like being more the feminine guy in a relationship.
Okay.
So, and I like my ex was your typical masculine guy. Works from Grand Prairie, in the trades, everything masculine. I prefer that. Yeah.
But not every gay male prefers a masculine partner or a feminine partner.
No, I'm just speaking from my own experience.
So just to clarify,
just clarify,
that is your preference.
That's my preference. Yeah.
So you're gay.
So like within the relationship, I like to fit more of the female roles.
Okay, and this is something that you hear a lot. That maybe when straight people are around gay people, they're uncomfortable. They think maybe, oh my gosh, this person's gonna hit on me, or how do I know that they're not trying to make a move on me? What's your reaction to that?
Well, I usually think like gay men have standards, so it's not like they're gonna go into every situation or every room and hit on every single gay guy. They have standards and they have a certain taste, what they like.
So unless you're masculine, unless you're 5'11" or 6 and up, play a professional sport, you're out. Chevy's off. You're not allowed to ask him on a date.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair enough. I feel you on that. I feel you on that. Okay, and on that note, there's a very popular term, gaydar, which means someone's ability to recognize if someone else is gay. So, do you have gaydar, and how strong is it? I
think my gaydar is quite well. I can walk in. I can usually walk into every room and feel or sense whether they're curious, bisexual, or full gay, or in a closet. I usually am, and I'm usually correct most of the times.
Does that help in the search for a lover?
Yeah, it does. It does help, but it doesn't always help either. It's not like I always engage in everything.
Right. Yeah. Because you got your standards.
Yeah, you have to have standards.
Make sure those are checked off.
And sometimes you're looking for a life partner than a fling. Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course. Of course. So like they might be 6 feet, but they might not have the intellectual,
Or they might not be comfortable with themselves. Yeah.
Valid.
Because like usually when I'm looking for somebody, a sexual partner or a partner, I'm looking for somebody who's is secure within their family and secure among their friends, and they're okay with themselves. Because then a person who's not okay with themselves comes with baggage, I find. So I find if two people are coming into a relationship and they're both secure in their sexuality, I find you can just work on a relationship from there. It works out well.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And on that note, you mentioned in the story that for most of your life you got away pretty scot-free with how you looked and who you were. You grew up in a small town. You never got harassed. You wore makeup to high school. But then there was one incident where you were attacked. Yeah. you say a few men attacked you on the street when you were in the university area.
Yeah.
Why do you think those men attacked you?
Well, what I can tell, I grew up in Panoka, Alberta, and I know everybody there. I wore makeup, dabbled in women's clothing, and it's not even women's clothing, I dabbled in fashion. That's the way I like to look at it.
Okay.
I dabbled in fashion, I wore very fashionable stuff, and then I went to Red Deer College for a couple of years, and I had a great time there, knew everybody. Then I went to U of A, and I was walking from my dorm, and then the group of guys mistaken me for a woman at first. So then when I walked by them and they found out it was a guy, they started egging each other on and laughing and making fun, and then called me a faggot. They said, "You're an effing fag." And so I just said thank you, because that's all I can really think about. Because I've never
trying to get out of there, right?
Yeah, and it was a crowded street, and I felt ashamed that I was being called names in front of so many people. So that's the only thing I can really think of. So I kept on walking, and I think it was like a group mentality, because after his friends started making fun of him because I said thank you, so he said he was going to get out and beat me up. So I didn't take it seriously, and I kept walking, and then he beat me up from behind. Yeah.
I guess the only question to that is, do you think that they would have attacked you if you were in fact a woman?
If I was a woman? No, I don't think they would have, no. Because they thought I was a woman at first, but then they realized I was a guy, and then it kind of threw them off.
So was it like he was, in your opinion, we don't know who this person was or why they did it, but in your opinion, do you think it was like they were embarrassed?
I think they were embarrassed that they
on a girl that was a guy?
Yeah, I think they got themselves caught off guard, and then since he was with his friends, I think it made it even more embarrassing for him. And I was just walking to get some groceries, because I was watching Sex and the City at my dorm. I looked at my dorm room, and I had no food, so I was like, I'm gonna get some groceries. And then that's what happened.
Turned bad real quick.
Yeah, but thankfully, like 6 people came and helped, and once I got attacked, a lot of people came rushing to intervene. Yeah.
And after you were attacked, that was one of the big pushers for you to become an advocate in the LGBTQ community. Because
I felt like I lived in a bubble. I felt like I never realized that there was so much people who live in silence about whatever, because I've lived quite openly my whole life. I'm comfortable with my family, came out when I was 12, great group of friends, great childhood. And I feel like I've really lived in a bubble, and I've never really had to define myself to other people. I've always just been myself and wore women's clothes, makeup, and never really had to explain myself to anybody. And then after I got attacked, I got a lot of emails from people sharing their stories, and I was in a very emotional state, so I took a lot of their stories quite personal. So that's what kind of egged me on to speak up. First I wasn't going to, because I was quite ashamed that it even happened to me, and I didn't want to tell anybody, didn't want to tell my family, but I did eventually. But from there, that's when I became an advocate, because I realized there's a lot of people who just like hide, who are silent about being attacked. They're not comfortable with themselves. Their families are not comfortable with themselves. They're too afraid to express themselves as a person. So I thought I should do my part to at least educate or make a safe space for them to come out.
Okay, well, you've been doing a really good job of it so far.
Thank you.
Well, next we introduce you to an advocate who has been working here in the LGBTQ community for over 30 years. And we're also going to talk about why this is so difficult for some of us to wrap our heads around.
There's masculine, there's feminine, and the world has said there's nothing in between. We know that's not true, and people like CHEVI are saying, no, there is something in between, and it's me.
If you see something different from your own worldview, you shouldn't go and attack it. I think there's a room for understanding and acceptance and tolerance.
Welcome back to It's Not About Sex. Today we're talking about gender fluidity with our guest CHEVI. And to add to that conversation, we would like to introduce you to Mickey Wilson. He is the Executive Director of the Pride Center of Edmonton. Welcome, Mickey. I'm excited to have you here because I have so many questions for you.
Happy to be here.
So the first, we talked to CHEVI earlier about his gender identity. He's biologically male. He identifies more sometimes more feminine, sometimes a little bit more masculine. But I think this is the first time a lot of people are going to hear that concept of gender fluidity. How common is this in our society?
Well, I think as an identity, it is an emerging identity, but if you think about it, people have been gender fluid throughout time. There's always been more masculine men, or more masculine women and more feminine men. It's not a new concept. It's something new that we're talking about, and something new that people are identifying with.
So why did I, even myself, have such a hard time understanding that he just changes his gender and how he identifies himself or how he looks on a day-to-day basis? Like we said in the video, girls are expected, you know, maybe to wear pink and do administrative jobs. We know that's really old school, but we still have this male-female break in how we view people. So why is it so hard for society to move on from that, that placement?
Our whole world is structured around a gender binary. There's masculine, there's feminine, and the world has said there's nothing in between. We know that's not true, and people like CHEVI are saying, no, there is something in between, and it's me. I'm not masculine in that sense that you've understood as being male, and I'm not feminine maybe in the way you've understood female, but I am who I am, and that's valid.
Okay, and during the break you told me, we saw in the video you say, I'm not trans, I'm not transgender, you have no intention of becoming a complete female, but you said you are starting to take hormones.
Yeah.
So that's confusing to me, because that makes me think you're trying to become maybe more of a girl.
No, I think with hormones, the hormones are going to keep me androgynous looking. So less body hair. Okay. I'm not going to change it into a female. It's just going to stunt the testosterone growth, I guess, if that makes sense.
Right. So you don't want to...
I don't want breasts, and I don't want to change my body parts. I just want to remain androgynous, and as I get older, it would be harder to look androgynous as an older man when I can look more like a feminine older person.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and to people maybe that are watching and questioning their gender identity, how do we know, how does someone begin to tell, okay, I'm gender fluid or I'm transsexual?
Well, inside of the trans spectrum, there is an umbrella that includes a whole lot of different folks and a whole lot of different identities, from gender fluid, gender queer, gender creative, agender, all kinds of things, all the way up to people who identify as transgender or transsexual. So most people would identify or would find themselves somewhere under that umbrella, where others perhaps see themselves just on the outskirts, playing with their gender a little bit so that it suits them, it feels good, it feels right.
They're not ready to like dive in the pool. They kind of have a feeling that something's not right and they want to change it to become more comfortable. They're not ready to make that full change. People
that are trans do with their gender what they need to do so that it all feels right. Gender identity is something that's really personal, and there is no descriptor that works for everyone. There's not a single descriptor. So there's people that are more gender fluid or that don't feel themselves as more one or the other from what they were assigned at birth. Still, their identity is valid, right? They just, they do what's right for them. Identity is very personal.
Okay, that's what we're trying to do on the show, is kind of, there's so much to talk about. It goes on and on and on. Some of those things that you said I don't even understand. Hopefully I'll learn one day and we'll all get there together. But if you say you know someone, CHEVI, you're the first gender fluid person I know, how do you become a better ally and support to people like CHEVI, and how can we become a better society to make things more comfortable for everyone, no matter how they identify?
I think the most important thing is to accept people for who they tell you they are. That's really, really important. That if CHEVI says he's gender fluid, that I don't challenge that. I get CHEVI to explain to me what that means for CHEVI. right? And I support Chevi in that journey and accept what he tells me is truth. And likewise, if someone is transgender or transsexual or non-binary, that they are who they tell you they are, not who you want them to be. And I think that's the really biggest factor around support, is let them be who they are. And you don't have to get it all. You're on a journey alongside of them.
We really do complicate it.
We do.
It's our own problem, kind of. We make it more, just listen to what he says. If I say I'm not ever going to wear heels again, I'm never going to wear heels again.
That's right.
Move on.
That's right.
All right.
That's right. You are who you are.
Love it. Well, as we can see, coming to understand and completely accept the LGBTQ community is so much more than understanding gay and straight. Today we discussed gender identity, but the scope of gender and sexual diversity is very complex, and these are topics that we're going to try to continue to tackle here on the show. There are numerous resources available. We will leave you with some local organizations to contact for more information. Thank you to both of our guests, Chevi and Mickey, for coming out today. And thank you for watching this episode of It's Not About Sex. If you have any questions or comments about our show, tweet us at CHEVI Edmonton with the hashtag It's Not About Sex. We'll see you next time.